Hey, everyone, welcome back to the channel. Buckle up because today we're diving headfirst into a story that's rocking the American economy, shaking up the automotive world, and sparking heated debates across the internet. Picture this. Ford, the all-American car giant, the maker of the iconic F-150, is reportedly turning its back on the USA, all because of President Donald Trump's massive new tariffs. Is Ford really packing its bags and leaving America in the dust? Or is this just another wild rumor fueled by ex-posts? In this 20-minute deep dive, we're unpacking the drama, the stakes, and what it all means for you, the American consumer. If you're into cars, politics, or just want to know why your next truck might cost a fortune, stick around, hit that like button, and let's get rolling. All right, let's start with the basics. What's got everyone talking? On April 3rd, 2025, President Trump dropped a bombshell, rolling out a sweeping set of tariffs that sent shockwaves through global markets. We're talking a 25% tariff on all imported cars and auto parts, a 10% blanket tariff on goods from every country, and a jaw-dropping 145% levy on anything coming from China. Trump calls this his fair and reciprocal plan, designed to supercharge American manufacturing by making foreign goods way more expensive. The idea? Force companies to build in the USA, create jobs, and bring back the glory days of American industry. Sounds like a patriotic win, right? Well, not so fast. Here's where it gets messy. Even American companies like Ford, who've been building cars in the USA for over a century, are getting slammed. Sure, Ford produces about 80% of its US sold vehicles domestically, but here's the dirty secret. No car is 100% made in America. Take the Ford F-150, America's best-selling truck. Its alternators, wheels, and even some electronics come from overseas, places like Mexico, Canada, and China. With these new tariffs, those parts could face a 25% tax, adding thousands of dollars to the cost of every vehicle. Analysts are warning that the cheapest American-made cars could jump by $2,500 to $5,000, while fully imported models might cost an extra $20,000. That's not pocket change. But it's not just about higher prices. China's hitting back hard, slapping 150% tariffs on American cars, up from 84%. That means Ford's exports to China, like their SUVs and Mustangs, are basically dead in the water. On April 18th, Ford announced they're halting shipments to China entirely because it's just not profitable anymore. And now, whispers on X are suggesting Ford might be plotting something even bigger, like pulling out of America altogether. Is this for real? Let's break it down. Okay, let's address the rumor that's got everyone buzzing. If you've been scrolling through X lately, you've probably seen posts claiming Ford is threatening to ditch the USA, leaving Trump's tariff plans in the dust. Headlines like "Ford abandons America" and "Trump's tariffs push Ford out" are popping up everywhere. But is there any truth to this? Or is it just internet chaos doing what it does best? First things first, Ford hasn't come out and said, "We're done with America." No press release, no CEO statement, nothing official. The buzz seems to have started with a mix of speculation and frustration over Ford's recent moves. For example, Andrew Frick, president of Ford's gas and electric vehicle units, sent a memo to dealers warning that if Trump's 25% auto tariff stick, Ford will have no choice but to raise prices starting as early as May or June 2025. We're talking thousands of dollars tacked on every car, truck, and SUV. That memo got leaked, and suddenly, people on X were like, "Ford's betraying America." But let's be real. Ford leaving the USA entirely would be a massive deal. They're headquartered in Dearborn, Michigan, employ tens of thousands of American workers, and have deep roots in the country. The F-150 alone is practically a national symbol. So, where's this leaving idea coming from? Well, Ford is making some big moves. They've paused exports to China, as we mentioned, and they're offering temporary discounts, like employee pricing through June 2nd, to soften the blow of upcoming price hikes. Plus, there's talk of Ford rethinking their supply chain. With tariffs making foreign parts so expensive, some companies are considering globe hopping, moving production to low-tariff countries like Vietnam, Brazil, or even India. Could Ford be eyeing this? It's not impossible. They've already got factories in places like Mexico and Thailand, and shifting more production overseas could dodge both U.S. and Chinese tariffs. But completely abandoning America? That's a stretch. Uprooting their U.S. operations would cost billions and take years, not to mention the PR nightmare of turning their back on the Made in America brand. For now, it seems like Ford's playing a strategic game, not packing their bags. Still, those ex-posts have a point. Tariffs are pushing Ford to make some tough calls. What do you think? Is Ford just bluffing to pressure Trump? Or could they actually shift major production overseas? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Now let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture, Trump's tariffs. If you follow Trump's career, you know tariffs are his signature move. Back in his first term, he slapped tariffs on steel, aluminum, and Chinese goods, promising to revive American manufacturing. Fast forward to 2025, and he's doubling down. On what he calls Liberation Day, Trump rolled out this new wave of tariffs, hitting every country with a 10% tax and China with up to 145%. His logic? Make foreign goods so expensive that companies have no choice but to build factories in the USA, creating jobs and boosting the economy. On paper, it sounds like a slam dunk. Protect American workers, stick it to China, and bring back the industrial heartland. Trump's even claimed that over 75 countries are scrambling to negotiate new trade deals to avoid these tariffs. But here's where it gets complicated. Tariffs are a double-edged sword, and right now, they're cutting deep into American industries, including Ford's backyard. Let's break it down. First, the auto industry. As we've seen, even American cars rely on foreign parts. With a 25% tariff on components, production costs are skyrocketing. The Center for Automotive Research estimates that car production could drop by 10 to 20% this year, meaning 1.8 million fewer vehicles rolling off assembly lines. That's bad news for auto workers, who could face layoffs if demand tanks due to higher prices. But it's not just cars. American farmers are getting crushed too. Over half of U.S. soybean exports go to China, but with Chinese tariffs now 125%, up from 84%, prices have spiked 135%. Soybean farmers are losing billions, and countries like Brazil are licking their chops, ready to steal that market. The same goes for other industries, appliances, electronics, even clothing. The average American household could see their annual costs rise by $1,200 to $2,000, according to economic projections. Trump's hinted at some wiggle room, like pausing auto tariffs for a few months to let companies adjust their supply chains. He's also pushing for exemptions for allies like Canada and Mexico, who've been vocal about their own retaliatory tariffs. But here's the harsh truth. Fully American-made products are a myth. Even Ford's most patriotic trucks use parts from a dozen countries. Tariffs might force companies to rethink their supply chains, but instead of building in the U.S., some are looking at cheaper countries with fewer trade barriers. That's the opposite of what Trump wants. So, is this a bold move to revive American manufacturing, or a risky gamble that's backfiring? It's hard to say. Trump's betting that short-term pain will lead to long-term gain. But with prices rising and companies like Ford feeling the squeeze, a lot of Americans are starting to question the plan. What's your take? Are tariffs the key to bringing jobs back, or are they pushing companies away? Let me know in the comments. All right, let's take a step back and look at the global fallout. Trump's tariffs aren't just shaking up America. They're reshaping the entire world economy. China's not sitting idly by. They're doubling down on domestic production, especially in tech. Companies like Huawei are pushing to build their own chips and software, reducing reliance on the U.S. Meanwhile, their 150% tariffs on American cars and 125% on agricultural goods are hitting U.S. exporters where it hurts. Other countries are seizing the moment. Brazil, for example, is gearing up to dominate the soybean market as China looks for alternatives to American crops. Vietnam and India are positioning themselves as low-cost manufacturing hubs, luring companies that want to dodge both U.S. and Chinese tariffs. Even allies like Canada and the EU are retaliating with their own levies, targeting everything from American whiskey to Harley-Davidson motorcycles. For Ford, this global chess game is a nightmare. They're caught in a web of tariffs, counter-tariffs, and rising costs. Their decision to halt shipments to China is just the tip of the iceberg. If this trade war drags on, Ford might have to make some tough choices. Either eat the higher costs and raise prices, or shift production to countries with better trade deals. Neither option is great for American workers or consumers. And let's not forget the human cost. Higher car prices mean fewer people can afford new vehicles, which could tank sales and lead to layoffs. Small businesses like auto repair shops are already feeling the pinch as imported parts get pricier. And everyday Americans? They're stuck paying more for everything: cars, groceries, clothes, you name it. The question is, how long can this go on before something breaks? So, where do we go from here? For Ford, the road ahead is bumpy. They're offering short-term discounts like employee pricing through June 2nd to keep customers happy, but that's a band-aid on a much bigger problem. If tariffs stick, price hikes are coming. $5,000 to $10,000 more per vehicle by some estimates. That could push buyers toward used cars or competitors who find ways to dodge the costs. Long-term, Ford has a few options. They could invest billions in U.S. factories to make more parts domestically, but that takes years and isn't guaranteed to work. They could also shift production to low-tariff countries, which would save money but cost American jobs. Or they might lean harder into electric vehicles, like the Mustang Mach-E, hoping to pivot away from tariff-heavy gas models. Whatever they choose, it's a high-stakes gamble. For Trump, the pressure's on. If tariffs lead to higher prices and job losses, he risks losing support from the very voters who backed his America First agenda. He's already hinted at exemptions or delays, but with China and other countries digging in, this trade war could drag on for years. The American consumer, meanwhile, is caught in the crossfire, facing sticker shock at every turn. The bigger picture? This is a pivotal moment for the global economy. China's pushing for self-reliance. Other countries are carving out new trade routes, and companies like Ford are rethinking their entire business models. Will Ford stay loyal to America, or will they chase profits elsewhere? Only time will tell. And there you have it, folks, the wild, messy story of Ford, Trump, and the tariff war that's got everyone talking. Is Ford really leaving America, or are they just playing hardball to survive? Are Trump's tariffs a genius move to revive the economy, or a misstep that's pushing companies away? The answers aren't clear, but one thing is, this drama is far from over. What do you think? Is Ford betraying the American dream, or are they just doing what it takes to stay afloat? Should Trump double down on tariffs or pump the brakes? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one. If you enjoyed this deep dive, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next video. We've got more economic, political, and automotive stories coming your way, so stay tuned. Until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring, and I'll see you in the next one.